Broadcasting from the heart of downtown Hollywood. This is SoFloRadio.com. ZNation. ZNation. Where consciousness is queen, love really is the answer. And making a difference is on the menu. ZNation. Organic beats and inspiring treats. Get your weekly dose of vitamin Z now. This is ZNation on SoFloRadio.com.
Hi, world. We're so happy to see you.
Blessings, welcome, and thank you for tuning in. This is the ZNation show. We are broadcasting live from Hollywood, Florida, and we're here on SoFloRadio.com. My name is Zayna the Gaia.
Emily Sunset Martinez in his house.
And we have a special guest with us today. So blessed to have you here today. Bonnie Halima Gibson. Welcome.
Thank you so very much. It's an honor and a pleasure to be with you sisters today.
Yes.
So excited to be here to share this.
Yes. I feel like your presence, there's a little feedback. Like, there's not many words to say.
I had a hard time doing this biography thing because I don't know what to say. I don't really do very much.
But you don't know. You do so much.
But I get it. Is you're in a state of being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God willing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, wow, we had an exciting weekend. This weekend.
I heard.
Sunset and I spent the weekend at Landmark Worldwide. There's a center here in Fort Lauderdale, and
very cool.
Sunset did the Landmark Forum.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes, I did.
Once upon I did that in 1996.
You did it in 1996?
I did the wisdom course, and I was going to be a forum leader.
Oh, awesome.
Whole nother life.
Oh, yes. It's quite a world, and we had it was awesome. We had 5 of our yoga teachers in the course.
Wow.
And about 5 of our yoga teachers assisting in the back of the room, like really causing the space.
Yes, you told me that you were a supervisor.
Yes.
Awesome.
I supervise 4 courses a year as a course supervisor at Landmark, and it is just such an absolute joy and an expression for me. But this course in particular was really special. Having my tribe there, both on the court and in the stands. Though everybody was on the court, but it looked like the ones assisting were on the court, were in the stands. But everybody was in the trenches of transformation this weekend, and it was great. It was great. You want to share a little bit, Sunset?
Yeah, share some of the gold nuggets.
Oh my God, I'm not gonna lie. When I first went in there, I had some rackets or complaints, because I know not everybody's gonna know what rackets are. But I was like, oh, this, and the format and sitting in the chair. But I realized that everything that happened, it wasn't just what I was listening; it was who I was being. The little actions I took were all a lesson for me. Like, me complaining about having to sit so long made me realize that, I gotta take care of myself. And that if I need to get up and move, then move. Just go and, don't sit. And it was just, oh my God. I had breakthroughs with my parents. I had breakthroughs with my mom and my dad, my sisters.
So back up. Did you call your mom, and did you have?
I called
stuff with
my
your parents?
mom and I called my dad. But so I'm gonna start with my dad because that was really big, and it made me realize that I really did do a lot of healing when it came to that relationship. I gave up the story about trust and cheating, all that. I'm like, you know what? We all make we all do stuff. I'm not gonna take it personal anymore. But I didn't realize how just because I healed from it, how much important it is for me to have told him that I healed from it. And what I really got from that conversation was that he had been hurting for a little while about it. We didn't get super deep, but just the little things he said, I've been asking God for forgiveness my whole life now. I've gotten into church, and I'm so sorry for bringing my childhood into our, the present. And I was
Your dad
like,
said that?
Yeah,
That's
my dad
huge.
said that. And that was huge for me because I've
really
always
huge.
felt like that. But it's just like, I can't force someone to think that, like they have to come up with that themselves. And I always felt like that as I got in my older years. And I'm like, but dude, you keep making excuses and like, whatever happened, but you can't like use as an excuse for your present. But it's like he had to learn that. And it couldn't, and maybe that distance really taught him that. So I don't regret what happened, but I really did take responsibility for us not having the relationship we have. And, we're
And
working.
you shared with him that you had healed.
Yeah.
Which really helped him heal.
Yeah. And I told him, I'm like, listen, whatever happened, it happened. But, and whatever I was told really when I was young and all that, like, it doesn't matter. I'm my own person and nobody's going to tell me how I'm supposed to think. If whether I agree with you did or not doesn't matter, and whether my mom agree with it or whatever, it should not have taken a hold of me. But then it also made me realize something else, that I always say I take on like people's stuff, but I didn't realize to the magnitude of how much I really take it on, like energetically and just all this. Like I realized like how much I really take people's stuff on, and I realized like I came to the realization that there's nothing broken and there's nothing to fix, because growing up I always felt like there was something to fix. And I realized that all those years there was nothing to fix. I was just a reflection of, like what you say, what was happening in the home. And I was just being real about it, and people didn't like it. It was like, I felt like I was like the Rockwaller. It was like
the truth meter.
Yeah, I was just like, wait, but you being mad two-faced right now. But then it's like, it wasn't my job to be that person, and it was like from a place of hate, because it was like, it wasn't that I was mad about the situation. I was mad of feeling like I had to endure. Like when my parents like split up. I had to be with my mom. It wasn't like I'm an adult, I can just walk out. When you're a kid, you have no choice. Well, you feel like that. And so that's really what I was mad about. I was mad because I felt like I had to live two lives. I felt like, you left and you didn't understand what I had to sit and endure. And that's really what the anger was. But it had nothing to do that he cheated or whatever. Like, that's not what I was angry about. I was angry that, when you left, I had to hear it all the time. And realize like that's how I took it on. And then it's like same thing, like I told my mom, like, you healed from it, but you never like told me, like, you know what, I'm sorry that maybe I should have never like talked about your dad like the way I did in front of you. And so it was like I opened that, and my mom came, like I talked to her too in the landmark, and she's like, I'm sorry for doing that in front of you guys, not really like giving you guys the respect as being young children, like putting you guys in that predicament of having to choose sides. So it was like,
I could, that's just amazing. Like I could see incredible. That. Like it would happen everywhere, like as we're working on ourselves, like you heal yourself and you go to a seminar, you do workshops, and you're constantly doing the work on yourself. But then going back to the people that, were with you when you were dealing with things like that, and the impact it had on them. And really being responsible for who we were in the past. Not like we're bringing the past into the future, but really just completing the past in terms of, if we're fully responsible. I really look at the impact I had in life, and life consists of people. So I love what you said about that, Sunset, and I'm so proud of you for, giving your parents the ultimate gift of acknowledging them for your life and like quitting the make wrong.
And freeing them. It's freeing. The forgiving is for you, but it also frees them.
Like you imagine, parents growing up and, them separating, like your mom probably didn't feel good about it. She wants a family together and she feels disappointed and, upset with herself, or however, I'm making up how your mom felt. But I would imagine, and then on top of it, your kids are like pointing the finger at you and you feel even worse.
I've lived this. It's not easy. And I love that you're saying this, because it really gives the space for young children to get that. And now that they're teenagers, they can really get it.
And it's extraordinary. They do a landmark form for children, like 8 years old, and they get that at 8.
It's
and
incredible.
They stop making their parents wrong at 8 years old.
Can you
It's the coolest thing.
It is.
It's the coolest thing. They can hear themselves running rackets, and they're the same, but they're little people, enlightened little people. It's great.
And I really had to, and I had to really, like, I went back and I see that it really, started from me. Like, I look back at when the day my parents split up, and I remember going to my mom and I was like, it's your fault, da da da. And so it's just like, I really started that wheel of like the hate and
think about it, that finger pointing, that was taught behavior. You learned to point the finger out there because you learned it from your environment. So even then, like, I think it takes so much courage to take 100% responsibility.
It does.
It
and
does.
It's not easy. It really
and
isn't.
It's really standing in it like that. Yes, I made up that story in that moment, and really having a lot of compassion for ourselves and not, threading that line between like being really 100% responsible so that it empowers you.
Yeah.
Versus...
And not beating yourself up for it.
That's
and
the part,
people
yes.
around you, to have the mercy for yourself and for the others that, may or may not know. I mean, they didn't come with all these instructions either. So the mercy is huge for everybody.
And that's really what I got to. I kind of had to forgive myself over the weekend. Because I was like getting so mad, like, why was I being like that? Like, I couldn't
help it. You didn't have the tools.
I didn't
How
have
could you do what you didn't know?
Exactly.
You really did the best that you could do with what you knew at that moment. And girl, you are amazing.
Yes.
It's like, I was so happy Sunset did the Landmark Forum, but I'm clear she doesn't need it. I'm clear nobody needs it.
Right.
Everybody deserves it so that we can keep awakening, to our true self is what it is.
It's a gift.
Yeah, it's a gift. And it's like, you're amazing. You are a go-getter, and you are like, you're so awake, and like the opportunity to awaken more, and then we can do more work out there in the world.
Straight up.
Deeper, wider. And there are many layers. It's like an onion. Yes. There's so many layers. And when you get down to that's actually, really what I've learned to practice is really getting down to that root, where it came from in the first place.
Yes. And
once you start to open that, then all the other things, it's like a, not only an onion, but like a beautiful petal arises, a rose in your heart arises.
Exactly. And I feel like somebody has to do it. And if I got to be the one to like really get deep so I can inspire others to like release those chains, then I'm going to do it. And if it's just, it takes one thing, one weekend or one workshop or one opportunity for me to really have to dig deep, I'm going to do it. And people look at me, they're like, why you just love the primal shit. Like, you just love doing that. Like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, it's a high when I feel like, it's like detoxing.
Vulnerability.
Yes. And it's like detoxing. I get to like, I had a whole thing of water the whole time. I drank a gallon a day there. So it really was like, not only was I detoxing my body, I was detoxing my mind, my beliefs. It was like everything was being detoxed. And like, that's why they're like, wow, you lost weight. I'm like, listen, I promise you, it's not because I'm doing crunches every day. It's because I'm dealing with my
losing the crap.
Yes.
Astaghfirullah, please
dropping
forgive
the crap.
Yeah.
And then you went back in your life on Monday, and you've been on fire, girl. You've really been like free to be in a whole new way.
Oh yeah. And now it's like noticing everything. Like, I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, it becomes very subtle. It becomes more and more subtle as you continue.
Yeah. Right now I'm just like freaking out. I'm like, wow. Like, I really see like my voice in my head and like just a bigger awareness. So it's like, it's cool. I'm like, okay, like I can be with that.
That's awesome, Sunset. Well, I really acknowledge you. And I've never seen anybody do this, Halima. Sunset created a GoFundMe, and she's been raising money to do the curriculum.
Yeah. I know. I felt so strongly that I didn't have much to contribute, but I just had to.
Girl.
And and it doesn't matter how much we contribute to GoFundMes, right? If we just give like $5 to people, it's just such... When people see that in their email box, it's somebody donated, but it's $1 or $100. It's like,
people
wow.
did that for me to do Landmark, actually.
Really?
Yeah, that's how I got that idea. Yeah, one of my clients believed in it so much. Every time I started as a massage therapist, so every time I worked on her, she would tell me about Landmark. Tell me about Landmark. Finally, I'm like, okay, when is this thing? She said, it's coming up in, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and I would love nothing more than for you to do it. And I know you don't have the money. I was in an interesting place in my life, and she just funded it for me.
Helped you out.
And
Wow, what a
pledged
gift.
to do that again and again, and God willing, I've been able to.
Awesome. Yeah. And for those of you, who don't know, Landmark is a company that provides transformational courses that really empower people in the areas of life that are important to them. And they have a curriculum for living. So the Landmark Forum is the first of 3 programs that make up the curriculum for living. And the point of the curriculum for living is that you're living a life that you love and you love your life, period.
Yeah. Bob Marley.
Period.
That's exactly
that was a big start for me.
And if you've seen the Matrix, by the way, Matrix 1, 2, and 3, Matrix 1 represents the Landmark Forum, Matrix 2 is the advanced course, and Matrix 3 is the self-expression leadership program. And the Matrix series came out of the self-expression leadership program.
I'm not surprised. I jumped out of an airplane during that one.
You did? Self-expression?
Yeah, every time there was something major that happened. I could earmark each one, and I'm sure you'll do the same. I did this during the forum. I did this. I jumped out of an airplane in self-expression leadership. I realized I needed to split up at advanced course and with my beloved, my husband for many years, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes. Awesome. And they're all over the world. So if, just look up landmarkworldwide.com, they have them all over the world, various countries in various languages, all over. I discovered a few things this weekend for myself.
She was in her power. I saw it. I felt it.
What was the jewels you brought home?
Oh, I transformed so much, Halima. One of the things I really got to take responsibility for my greatness this weekend. I'm the clearing for the course. I'm the course supervisor. So I partner with the Landmark Forum leader. I have this awesome privilege to be with them, really present with them the entire course and be present to all the participants and be with them. And in order to do that, I have to set up the whole thing 10 weeks out. I have to set up all the teams. I have to have everything ready so I could sit in that chair and drink my tea and be present. Yeah. And usually in the past I've done it, and when things go great, I don't take responsibility for the clearing that I am.
Right. Because it's
and
not
when
about
things
us.
bomb, I sure as heck do. But I don't take responsibility. I take the blame, right? So this weekend
that whole
was
weed whacker. I'm bad. I made a mistake. How could I do that?
And this weekend was the end of that. It was the
Alhamdulillah.
land and alhamdulillah. It was the line in the sand. And so taking responsibility for my greatness and my clearing, right? Like that the world shows up how I show up. And I showed up great this weekend, and my team showed up great, and the participants that were there really got to transform their lives, and that's what we were there for.
And not only that, but you just shared that you had 5 people, so to be a clearing and a stand, the results of that, you had 5 people that you know and love actually do this program together.
Yeah.
That's huge. I mean, that's a big part of it. That's when you really know that you're getting a program. That's when you're really transforming your life.
Transforming our environment.
In your life are starting to look at you. They're starting to ask you questions. They're starting to feel what you have, and they don't even know what that is.
Yes.
Alhamdulillah. That's so
Alhamdulillah.
beautiful.
I love it.
Sharing that.
So I got something else is a couple of other things. When I first got there, I said to the leader, what I want to get out of being here this weekend is I want to expand my capacity to love. And I want to expand, like I noticed with my family, I've developed the ability to, love them beyond my judgments.
Beautiful.
Love you even though I may not like things about you.
Right.
And I want to expand that so I can do that with everybody. And then the leader looked at me and he said, well, you got to think a little bit in a different paradigm. Got to come out of that box, because the two have nothing to do with each other. So I've really been discovering, that, the liking is really just in my internal state. It's my judgments of people.
Preference.
Yeah, it's like I like, I don't like. And love has nothing to do with that. And the way he described it, I'm really just discovering that for myself, is that love is a creation.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
And, if it's a choice. And if it's not there, we can create it. We can create it by saying, I love you. Yeah. We can create it by taking an action that is in alignment with someone who's being loving.
Yes.
So it really empowered me, because where there is no love, I can bring it.
Yes. You can ask for it to come in those places.
And I can receive it.
Yes.
So, and then another thing that I got too is, I created a commitment for myself that I don't want to make anybody wrong. And it's in the same realm of like the judgments, right? Like judging people that they're right or wrong for doing this or not doing that. And when we make people wrong like that, we actually have no power to make a difference with them.
Right.
It's just going to be,
More
defensiveness.
War.
And
yeah,
it is. It creates
it's war.
war.
Yeah, it creates separation.
So, and he told me the same thing. He said, well, consider you want to go into a different paradigm of thinking. And consider that you can't make anybody wrong because there is no such thing as wrong or right. So I'm really just discovering that for myself, where I have like an is, that something is wrong because it happened that way. And what if I can stand in the equanimity of like, it's not right and it's not wrong that this happened. It is. And it takes a lot of courage to stand there with, when you're thinking about the GMOs and the state of the planet and war on the planet and the rape and
we have a lot of justifications that are
yes,
rational, and people would say, well, what about this really
isn't this
is
wrong?
Real? This is what's real for me.
As long as I stand in that it's wrong, I can't make a difference with it. And I'm really starting to get that, not conceptually, but experientially.
Yeah, deep down in here.
Yeah. Like knowing like that everything is perfect and not just like I say it. And everything I'm saying right now is all so conceptual for all of us.
Yeah.
And it's important to do the work so that it really becomes who we are. Like life is empty and meaningless. For real, then we're putting so much meaning on everything. So how can we keep bringing this like every day is creating the environment. That's why I had 5 people in the Landmark Forum with me, because I'm selfish and I want an environment for myself and the planet where we can be in a world of possibility. And, the resignation and the cynicism becomes something of the past. It's like the majority of the people on the planet are in a conversation of possibility, transformation, love, and unity.
Yeah, and it really, like you said, it's really that place. It's not just a knowing here, but from the Sufi perspective, it's a knowing here. So this is beautiful and it's enlightened and it's a beautiful place. But if you can bring that enlightenment and ask how it can come in here, and the two of them can be melded, that's where the real transformation comes in. That's where the lifelong journey comes in. And then that's when you start to see God in every being, divine spirit, nature, love, whatever you call it. You can just look like I am right now into someone's eyes and just feel the love of the Creator. And then you don't have those judgments because it's only a mirror for you. And even if you do recognize that, you can go back to that and see the love in them again. And can you love them even if, even though?
It's such a freedom to expand that and love beyond the thoughts.
Yeah.
And just really love because I love for no other reason.
Yes.
That was so radical for me.
Yeah.
Like when I went and I heard that, because trust came up for me a lot too. But like at the end of it all, I realized that whatever happens to you, and we might get a sensation in our body, but it's just an opportunity to see like, where do I need more love in my life now?
Yeah, it's an opportunity. It's like, thank God, like here's another opportunity.
Thank you for
It's like
showing me.
like these beads, it's like another bead on your life, and then one string and another and another and another, and then all of a sudden you realize that you can just let go of the whole bead. And when you get rid of one bead, one picture, one place that you didn't trust, and you took the eye off, the way we talk about it is eye off God, they all fall. All the beads. They all fall.
And I feel so much like I have a better now understanding of all this stuff that I've been studying. Like I look at the sutras because I love the sutras so much, a different way. I listen to a lot of Abraham, and I get her now to another level of it. And it's just like, wow, like I just been reflecting on everything I've been learning, everything that happened in my teacher training, everything that happened in my life. And it's like I get to create a new story. And there doesn't have to be any story. It's just what happened.
That's so inspiring.
Yeah. And you can honor where you've come from, too. You don't have to take the baby and throw it out with the bathwater.
Exactly.
It's made you who you are, girl.
Yeah.
At 23, I mean.
Amazing.
Can you imagine if we did this at that age? Like, seriously? Like, to explore this to this degree?
Well, they always say your 20s is where you discover yourself, right? So I took that to heart. So I'm like, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. Like, I'm going to take the time out to get to know me. And soon we'll be in a world where you don't have to wait till you're 20 to get to know you. You'll know yourself in the minute you get out of that womb. Yeah. But, that's where I live at right now.
And we forgot.
I know.
Consider that we knew. That's the whole,
Well, we forgot, and we came into an environment that really programmed us in the way we've been programmed.
Yeah.
Right, wrong.
Exactly. Yeah, we were born knowing, and what if the whole purpose is we forgot by design so we could spend the rest of our lives trying to remember and living who we really are.
Right?
Ooh,
the divine joke.
That's a great context to live in.
Yeah.
It's very empowering.
Yeah.
And, I really love what you said, Sunset. That was my experience when I did Landmark 11 years ago. And I was like reading, all the books, watching The Secret at the time when The Bleep Do We Know had just come out. And, I was very in the know, and I can talk, but I couldn't walk my talk. It was all very conceptual, and I think that's what happens a lot. Is there's so much information out there right now. We're like
bombarded.
Yes, and people can like talk and talk and talk and talk, but unless we're doing the work to actually discover it for ourselves at an experiential level, and it could be Landmark, it could be going to retreats, it could be having a transformational coach, somebody that really stands, in that space of really discovering the authentic self with us. We can really start to walk the talk as we're learning,
And sometimes you have to, like, I remember you told me you got to feel it in your bones.
Yes. I loved you told me that. That's awesome.
I was like, sometimes, and I realized that's the way I am. Like, that's why at one point, I remember I told Zayna, I was like struggling because I had left early, right? And the fact is I left early. And I did for what I felt like was right for me. And I went, I meditated, and I got up, and I got it. And I was like, okay, I get what everything was being said. And I realized that, you know what? Instead of running rackets about how I think this weekend should have went, I realized that, you know what? It was because I was supposed to feel it in my bones. I was supposed to not only really listen and get it. I was supposed to literally like sit on that chair and see like how I'm being, even just sitting right here. Like, am I being cool? Or am I running rackets and complaints? Or am I making myself be in this prison? Because I realized, like, me being in that chair, it was like I remember Zayna was like, you could have just stood up and walked around and
I was a supervisor too. I'm her friend.
But am I a good girl?
Yeah, exactly.
And how many times have you done that in your life? How many times have you done things?
Oh my God.
Toughed it out
really,
to look good or to
that
not
really
get in
doesn't
trouble.
honor who you are, and it's actually a disservice. It's actually a disservice, and you're actually modeling how we've been trained and programmed instead of being honest and authentic and having a different model for people to notice and for you to embody. That's what you were talking about, getting into the bones, like that embodiment. That's what I found so much in the path.
Great lessons. Great lessons.
Yeah.
So we're going to pause. We're going to listen to some of our sponsors and business and marketing partners, and just want to take a moment to thank everybody who's listening, who has listened, who comments, likes, and supports in any way the Z Nation Radio. Sunset and I sat down and we started writing down all the different things that we're about, and we're really starting to, look at why do we do this?
Yeah, why are we
doing
every
this?
Thursday?
Why are we here?
here?
And we'll just share a little bit. Why I do this is I'm clear is we're awakening humanity, and giving us a platform to share with the world really what's happening, how much good work is happening on the planet, so that we're all focusing on the possibility of what this planet could be rather than what's wrong with it. And perhaps as we're focusing, we can start to create a new world that we can all live in harmony and unity together. And also, I think this is also a place where, we recognize each other as light workers, and we encourage each other, we encourage others to come on, jump off the bandwagon and come and join us. There's an army of light workers, and we are at work, and there is a lot of people that need us right now.
Get off your mountaintop and
come on down.
Dirty and
get out of the cliques and all of that, and really like stand with other people who are really trying to make a difference. That's why for me, it's like we're like little sacred activists in our own little way, and bringing those two worlds together, and it's like creating something different. It's like, I know you're pissed. I know, like, the GMOs, and I know I get pissed off too, but if you have compassion and see, like, you know, they're hurting us, but they're really hurting themselves, and because they're hurting inside themselves too.
Yes, and what happened in their lives to have them be this angry. There's something underneath that. There's deep pain. There's deep wounding, usually from childhood, some point of childhood.
Exactly, because I don't think anybody grows up and says, I want to, like, kill all the trees and the earth and none of that. Like, you had to have really gone through something to really want to do something like that.
Yeah. And that's why we do this.
Word. Straight up.
So thank you all so much for listening. We'll be back right after these messages right here on SoFloRadio.com.
Tune in to get tuned in. This is ZNation on SoFloRadio.com.
Add a twist of yoga.
Yoga Twist with Julie.
A great way to integrate yoga, meditation, and lots of fun.
Promote family bonding. Help with flexibility and exercise.
Julie has been teaching kids for over 8 years in after-school programs, summer camps, and local studios.
Book a group, family, or one-on-one session now. Email me, yogatwistjulie@gmail.com.
Follow Yoga Twist Julie on Instagram and like Yoga Twist on Facebook for great family lifestyle tips and Yoga Twist events.
Omar is a certified hypnotist with an intuitive and gentle approach that empowers his clients, allowing them to realize their own wisdom. Personally, I'd been stuck in a heartbreak, and with Omar's help, I got to the root of my suffering and my attachment to staying in relationships that no longer served me. I instantly felt lighter and free from resentment for the first time in years. Contact Omar at 305-343-9210 and cause a breakthrough in your life.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Clark, and I'm a yoga teacher and student at I Love Yoga Studio. It's been my privilege to practice, learn, and expand in this place of ever-evolving love and spiritual growth. When you visit, you'll most likely be greeted with a welcome home, and that's exactly how you will feel, at home and free to be. The studio offers yoga classes that meet you at your level of practice with affordable prices. So check out our schedule at www.iloveyogastudio.com. See you on the mat. Namaste. Hi, I'm Jennifer Clark, and I'm a yoga teacher and student at I Love Yoga Studio. It's been my privilege to practice, learn, and expand in this place of ever-evolving love and spiritual growth. When you visit, you'll most likely be greeted with a welcome home, and that's exactly how you will feel, at home and free to be. The studio offers yoga classes that meet you at your level of practice with affordable prices. So check out our schedule at www.iloveyogastudio.com. See you on the mat. Namaste.
Join the ZNation team as a marketing partner. We are always looking for conscious, sustainable businesses to support and share with our growing community. If your business is one that serves humanity and you want the world to know, we want to help you grow. Sponsorship opportunities are available for all budgets and flavors. For more info, call us at 954-604-1290 or visit ZNationRadio.com.
My heart is burning with love. All can see this flame. My heart is pulsing with passion, like waves on an ocean. My friends have become strangers, and I'm surrounded by enemies. But I'm free as the wind, no longer hurt by those who reproach me. I'm at home, wherever I am, And in the room of lovers, I can see with closed eyes the beauty that dances. Behind the veils, intoxicated with love, I too dance the rhythm of this moving world. I have lost my senses in my world of lovers.
Mics are on. Wow, that was from Gift of Love, a compilation by Deepak Chopra and others, reading Sufi poems. We thought that would be appropriate having you on the show today, Halima.
Yeah, it's incredibly appropriate because that's how I actually got my start in Sufism and learned the path of the heart.
Directly from this Deepak interpretation.
Yes, I was there. I was there at his, when he came to South Florida and he did a workshop, and in the intermissions, he played this CD, The Gift of Love.
Oh, Deepak?
Yes, during intermissions.
Awesome.
It was incredible.
So I'm gonna read a little bit of your bio, and first of all, I'm just so it's not even the word impressed. I just love what you do. I love that you've brought Sufism, which is your heart and what you share with Chinese medicine and Qigong, energy healing. So you are a master at medical Qigong, and you also are a master Sufi healer and teacher. Often called to speak at interfaith events as well as local colleges and universities such as Florida International University. What do you talk about?
Love, how to have mercy and compassion in your heart so you can help the people, and also answer a lot of questions, a lot of the myths. Kind of been like a myth buster for the young people about Islam and what it really means, and you have to wear a hijab, and do you have to pray 5 times a day, and if you're not a good Muslim and all that other stuff. But yeah, that's been part of my journey and part of my mission as I know it.
Wow. So cool.
And you serve as a spiritual coach, as a mentor, so you work one-on-one with people or in groups. You tune into the divine guidance to offer a unique approach that combines the best of Qigong practices along with the purification of the heart, spiritual healing sessions from the Sufi path. Beautiful. So you mentioned before that you grew up Jewish.
Yes.
And you discovered Sufism, and that is your path. How did that go?
Yeah.
Well, let's see. Once upon a time, I was... the abridged version is I started searching. I didn't realize it at the time, but I was 16. And I remember being in a creative writing class and writing a piece on who am I? Who is that little girl in the mirror? And little did I know that was the start of my journey. And it started, as you guys had, shared. I also did Landmark. So actually Landmark was a big piece. It started in 1996. And I was so impassioned about empowering the world, empowering myself as I empowered myself, making a difference in the world. And for me, and I love how, things have shifted over the years, and people who've been in the program know this. But for me, I had to be clear here before I could find this. Some people come in with this, and then they, this gets enlightened.
This, the heart.
Right. But for me, I needed the educational process to move those layers in the physical and in the mental before I could get to here.
So what did that look like for you? Like you took classes or did you?
So what happened is I went to an ashram in North Carolina called Aham, and I learned about a very devoted self-realized master. Many of you have heard of him probably from a Hinduist path, which is where I went next. I just wasn't getting the meat of it in my heritage, not because it wasn't there, but because I didn't hear it. Being a good girl like you, going to temple, doing the right things. I just didn't feel that devotion and that connection. And I didn't realize at the time, but it was to God. It was that divinity that I was missing and my heart was searching for. So I found a Hinduist path, which was Ramana Maharshi. And he was an amazing master. Ram Dass was one of his disciples. Just in a cane and a diaper in the bottom of Arunachala, he discovered he would have people come all over the world to discover who they were in silence. So that really resonated with me, and I travel with that. But what happens, and this happens sometimes even false teachers, even false places will bring you to the truth.
Yes.
So that's kind of what happened. Forgive me for saying so, but the teacher that I had started putting on his own things on top of the practices.
Yes.
So it actually became quite muted. And I had some issues with some of the basic tenets, like a lot of people believe in karma and, you're in that place because you're supposed to be in that place. But there's also a mercy and a compassion that I wasn't feeling from this. So I was at a crossroads. So here I am starting to open up my heart because I found the path of Rumi, who was a Persian poet, speaking of love and mercy and peace and justice and healing inside, purifying the heart. And I'm hearing that the poor deserve to be poor. So I had a real issue with this, and I had to kind of move away. And
Can you still say that with compassion?
What?
The poor deserve to be poor?
No.
Just the word deserve just connotes something.
No, absolutely not. I mean, we don't. And here's the other thing too. There's kind of like an arrogance. Like, how do we even know?
Yeah. Who are you to say that? I had somebody say that to me.
We're
like,
not God.
You deserve to have. Who are you to tell me that was my karma?
Word, like,
are you God?
You need to back away.
Exactly. So you could see how this was a problem.
It triggered something.
Yeah, but it also opened something huge. And I knew this was not my teacher. And I actually asked and prayed. I actually looked at the picture, it's kind of funny, of Ramana Maharshi and looked directly in his eyes as you do. You stare at masters and, things and change. Just like the Matrix, they change form, they change shape. And give me a real teacher. I really am ready for a real teacher. And then a month later, I met the president of my university, Dr. Ibrahim Jaffe. And he pointed me to my guide. So, no accidents.
Your guide being Rumi or your next teacher?
No, my guide in the flesh. Unfortunately, he just passed a couple of months ago. Sidi al-Jamal is a very humble man from Jerusalem. And I actually took the promise with him in living my life. As a Sufi, you take a promise. And you take a promise to live your life in God. To be a good person, to follow all the holy books. There's no separation, the Bible, the Torah, the 5 books of Moses, all of it, including the Quran, and that you embrace all the prophets and messengers for what each one of them carried. No different, nobody special, each one carried. They all came to their tribe and their time for a reason. And so to embrace all of that. And from that, I took a Sufi promise, and that's how I got my name, which, when you introduced me as Halima, I was brought up with a beautiful name, Bonnie, which means brucha. And I really feel that when people invoke and call me by my real name that I've been given by my guide, my spiritual name, that adds a piece of mercy, because that name actually resonates. It's one of the 99 names of God, which is, I teach that in my programs in the Sufi way. Halim is like the gentle patience. It's clemency. It's forbearance. It's always pardoning. It's always giving another chance. So it's like you're a child. It's like having the patience for a child. Can you imagine? Not, saying they're bad or they're wrong, but always giving them and here's the beautiful thing. See the finger pointing we were doing? Mm-hmm. It's not finger pointing. It's actually allowing them to find their own mistakes.
Yes.
And pardoning them when they don't. So it's a mercy that I've been given in my own life, which is a gift. The reason why the guide looks into your soul and he gives you a name for your journey as well as your gift.
That's beautiful.
To the universe.
My grandmother's name was Halima. I know.
That's so
I never knew that about
You told me that when you said you grew up in Lebanon. You were born in Lebanon.
Well, I was not born in Lebanon, but I am Lebanese. But yeah.
And you said that. I couldn't believe that.
I don't even remember telling you that. That's so funny.
Yeah.
But you bring up some good points. As you're speaking, I'm like, wow, that is so not how people think that Muslim people or people who practice Islam, would speak of others. It's so distorted. Yeah. And I mean, I grew up in Islam myself, and as you were saying the thing about the messengers, I realized that I have a story about Muhammad.
Really?
I grew up very not wanting to be part of the culture.
Mm-hmm.
And then in my 20s, I said to myself, let me study. So I studied all the different religions, and I studied Islam. And I absolutely loved it, and I resonated with it. When I say Allah, that's my vibration.
It means the one. Allah, it vibrates inside of our being.
It does. It's in the Om. It's in the word
yes,
God.
It's A-U-M. Yes, it's actually Om.
But here's what I made up, though. I made up that there was something wrong with the religion. When I got to the part where how it sounded to me was that this religion is better than others, and then it lost my attention.
Yeah.
It lost credibility for me.
Yeah.
And I think that's just, some people who speak that way. I don't think it's all.
Exactly. And you know what? If you're really honest, the Jews will say they're the chosen people, the Catholics and the Christianity.
And that's where they lose me.
Yeah, because there isn't one better. Each one came for their purpose and their reason. And there is a reason, actually, even in the Quran, it's very beautifully expressed that there's a reason why there were many tribes, so people could hear the word and the message in their own language.
Yes.
That makes
in their
so
own
much
native
sense.
tongue.
Now, Sufi study Rumi's writings and
there's
the
many
Quran.
different Sufi orders, actually.
Okay.
I belong to a particular Sufi order that's a healing pathway called the Shadaliya pathway. What I was first introduced to is the Malevi pathway.
So you don't study Rumi's writings?
No, it's not that I embrace them and I love them and I use them as teaching tools.
Yes.
However, Rumi was more of an ecstatic, like he did live in a cave. And, he did go off with his teacher and disappear and then, came back and, things like that. So one of the things that we were taught it's more of a sober path that I follow. So it's more about, he did the whirling dervish and it's amazing and it's beautiful and it's becoming very popular out there. But we do the whirling in the heart. So it's
What's the
embodied
difference?
It's more embodied in your being.
And just for people who don't know, what is the whirling and what's the intention of it?
So the intention is to connect with God. And actually what I love is, because we actually did a sampling of it this weekend, is it's connecting heaven and earth, just like in Qigong. So we have a Qigong practice. I mean, I love the parallels. This is why, it's life for me is about unity and bringing this together and showing the non-separation. So the heaven is here. You don't have to believe in God. You can believe in nature. You can believe in love.
Yes.
I mean, so here's heaven and here's earth. And you keep your left foot grounded and you spin around just like the earth orbits around. Just the sun, we orbit around the sun and the heavens. So you're actually whirling. So what happens is when in the Sufi pathway that I follow, the Shadaliya healing pathway, you learn how to whirl inside your heart.
Wow.
So it's like there are many layers of the heart, and it's like they go in.
You learn how to whirl inside your heart.
Yes.
Are you whirling while you're doing this? Or
no,
you're
sitting. You're still.
And you're whirling, your awareness is whirling
you're bringing
inside
in,
your heart.
Yes, what you said before about the sutras, you're bringing in divine sacred sound and vibration and healing. There's a reason why the Torah and the Quran, they carry the letters. People study this. I'm studying Arabic now. The letters carry light and sound, and same thing in Qigong. The healing sounds vibrate inside our being, like she said before, like the ah, like that ah sound we grew up, ma and da and pa, that's wired inside. So all you're reminded, we call it remembrance in the Sufi way, and many different Sufi practices different orders do use remembrance, including the pathway of Rumi is of Allah, the one is Allah, and it goes inside of you. And in Chinese medicine, the tongue is connected to the roof of the heart. So you're actually connecting that deepness of the heart inside.
Just go back to that. Yeah. That was I just got but that's the bhakti, that's the devotion, but that's the science
that's what I was missing.
So wait, go back. So the tongue is connected.
In Chinese medicine,
to the
meridian,
roof of the heart.
Yeah, the tongue is connected. When you connect the tongue to the roof of the mouth,
connects to the heart. And they have that in Kundalini too, and in Tantra. It's all like the parallel paths.
Yes.
I get excited too.
Yes. All true paths lead to the one. I mean, I'm dressed. I always laugh at this, but I got my Sufi beads, I got my qigong earrings, and like this is the unity. And my beloved, he follows the Course of Miracles, and he does Tai Chi and qigong religiously. That's his practice. Who are we to say that that's any holier or less holier when it's about finding your deep connection? And you ask me what I really do? That's really what I do. And I don't do it. I help people find it. I'm not like giving you advice, telling you, what you should do. I mean, yeah, sure, about nutrition and things like that. I can, give you some information. But it's really about bringing the mirror back and having you look at you and learning how to deepen your connection with God. However you do that, having that be your solid foundation, like the tree where everything grows from. And that's where you live your life from.
And just a tip, you guys, she's so right. Because I'm not doing any of this without her coming to me randomly. You came up to me and you didn't tell me do yoga. You just told me, I forgot the exact conversation, but it was
about life and love.
Yeah, and it's so crazy. Like you really do, you do put the mirror up. And I remember walking in that day and I'm like, I want to feel like them. That's really how it started. I was like, I want to feel like them because you guys just looked like you were glowing. And I'm like, I want to be like that. And at that time in my life, like, I was not,
Many of us don't really recognize how much we're missing until we find. And when we find, we're home. And there is no other place to go.
It's so reassuring and freeing. Yes.
It does. It creates an incredible amount of freedom.
So, I'm looking at your flyer. Polish our mirrors, remove the rust from our hearts, allow divine light to shine from within, and separate truth from illusion. That's what the Sufi practices invoke.
Yes.
So what does it look like? I mean, as a personal practice and as a group practice?
Okay, so it can be done. We do teach a remembrance that you can do on your own because, it's great to be in a group and there's energy in numbers, but there's also this place and this responsibility to do your own work. So the more you actually practice in a group, which is kind of how I kind of fell into the Sufis because I hung out with them. I went to a zikr, actually had an incredible experience. I was invited by an old friend, no accident, she came from Landmark, and we got reconnected. I started out as body work 20 years ago, so she wanted her husband to get a massage, and we got to know each other again, found out we've been traveling. I mean, how great is this when you realize you've been traveling with somebody on a parallel path? They even went to the same ashram. I couldn't believe this, that I did in North Carolina. So anyway, she invited me to this Sufi zikr, and I'm like, what is a Sufi zikr? Oh, just come. And I trusted her. And you mentioned that before. Trust is very, very important. And what if it was learning how to trust God more? So you didn't have to do anything. You would do less and get more done.
That's what you were asking about. What is intuition?
Yeah.
That's exactly, you just defined
Following that guidance.
Yeah.
It's trusting that he already, God, she, spirit, whatever, already has your back. So anyway, so she invited me to the zikr because I trusted her. And I had the most cathartic experience of my life. Even more so than listening to Rumi, which started opening up this place in my heart that I didn't know. This brought my worlds together. And this is why to this day, I still consider myself a Jew. I still consider myself a Christian. I still consider myself a Muslim because I'm a Jufi, I'm a Bufi, I'm a Sufi, I'm a Mufi. It's embracing the oneness of all of it. So I feel actually more connected. I learn more about my heritage, about the inner meanings by becoming a Sufi. So I see it as a bridge. So anyway, so I came to the zikr, and they're chanting and they're saying Allah, 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 La ilaha illallah, there is no God but God, and all these things, and I'm hearing. So I grew up Jewish, and I actually did learn Hebrew, and I actually was bat mitzvahed. So I heard the Hebrew sounds. They were kind of similar, and I also, my father's side of the family is Syrian Jewish practices, and Orthodox, and at parties, we would hear Arabic music. So I heard some of those words in Arabic, and they combined. So in the zikr, they converged into one. And I cried. The last part of the zikr is done in silence. and you just commune with God with all the sounds and the vibrations and all the layers and the traveling that you've done in the worlds of the soul, the mind, the heart, the soul, and the spirit. And everything became silent, and all I heard, and I don't believe it necessarily is the voice of God, but it was something inside of me, an angel or something. I believe that angels communicate with us too. I love you. And what I heard actually was, I love you, Bonnie. I love you, Bonnie. I love you, Bonnie. And tears were just streaming from my face. I have chills even remembering.
Me too.
I was home. There was no more searching. There was no more seeking. I was home.
That's the remembrance. It's
yes, remembering the name of God, the places that we forgot, that we thought we were separate. And actually, that song has that in that.
The one that you wanted to play?
Yeah.
We'll post it on the website.
Yeah.
What is it called?
It's called comes from a CD or album called Songs for the Inner Child. And it's by Shana Knoll, Lullabies for the Inner Child. How can anyone ever tell you?
Awesome. Yeah. Okay, so a couple of things before we wrap up with our meditation, my dear sister Halima. So upcoming events in South Florida.
Yeah, I'm really excited. One of the things I shared with you that my beloved guide passed a couple of months. And it's really been clear to not only me, but my community and the people, nationally at large. We need to carry this message of love and mercy and justice and freedom. So I actually feel more of a calling than I ever did to do this, to have classes and workshops. And so I do it in a couple of different ways. People who embrace the medical Qigong can come to me for Qigong classes. I also offer Sufi healing. We're going to be at Soul Holistic, Lonnie's Place, God willing, March 9th.
Okay.
Wednesday nights.
Okay.
That's coming up. But tonight, we actually have a Sufi Zikr. So if you want to actually get a taste, it's free. It's in Hollywood Boulevard. It's down the street from here, 2450, room 303A. You could call me up on the phone. You could text me. I have an office with a psychologist, and it's free for anybody to experience for yourself. You have to taste it.
Highly recommended. I highly recommend
7 p.m. tonight. So if you want to come, you could call me 954-684-6551.
I'm also going to share your website, Halima.
Yes,
So www.divinepowersofhealing.com.
Yes.
Okay, so you can also, contact Halima to do consultations and coaching via Skype and via phone.
Yes. I work with long distance.
South Florida.
Yes. I actually offer a complimentary consultation for you to come and check it out to feel if this is a good fit for you as far as coaching and mentoring, because it's not just one and done. It's a process, and I help coach you and support you. And I don't do anything. I just bring the mirror back. So it's about that guidance that we learn to embody in our own beings through practice.
Let's take a breath. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Thank you so much. Will you guide us
That'd be
into
my pleasure.
our hearts?
Oh, it'd be my pleasure.
Thank you.
So for those of you who cannot come tonight at 7 p.m., I invite you, or even if you are planning on joining us, to feel your feet, to allow yourself to feel your feet grounded deep into the earth. And I invite you to breathe into your belly. We were born breathing in and out of our belly. So I invite you to take a nice deep breath in, filling your belly up with as much air as possible, and letting it all out. And breathing it in even deeper. And one more time. And you might start to notice that actually if you're breathing from your belly, you're actually giving your heart and your chest and your lungs a break. So there's actually more energy that rises into your lungs, into your chest, and into your heart. So I invite you, if it feels right, to bring your chin towards your chest and bring your mind into your heart. So bringing your chin in helps to remind you that you're listening from here. And that's what I learned, is to listen from this place. So breathing in and out, the sound carries light and energy into your heart. So use the sound that works for you, whether it's Adonai, whether it's Hashem, whether it's Aum, whatever it is. For me, it's Allah, which means the one. And there are two Ahs in it, so it's a double dipping. It's a double blessing inside. And the La travels inside your throat so you can hear your own vibration. So if you can follow along, it goes like this. Allah. And see what you feel in your heart. That's it. Allah. It's like diving into a deep ocean of mercy and oneness. Allah. 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 And just notice in the pause what happens inside your heart, what's moving inside your heart. Not trying to fix or change, just being acceptance of exactly what you're feeling and what you're noticing. Allah, bringing your chin even deeper to your chest and surrender to your heart. Bowing deeper and deeper inside your heart. This is the heart of God, the heart of oneness, that holy tree, that holy jewel that we've been given. Allah. So as you practice this, we do this 99 times. And I love in Tibetan and Buddhism, and it's 108. They all dance down to 9. The ending of one cycle, beginning of another. So as you breathe in and out into your heart, feel the layers just shedding of who you thought you were, allowing the new creation to come in. Allah.
Shukran. Thank you so much, dear sister. Allah Mike. Thank you all so much for tuning in with us. Thank you for the work that you do. We see you, we acknowledge you, we know who you are, and we love you.
Peace.
Namaste.
Shalom.